I'm feeling so alive, hearing the angelic sounds of our ancestors singing through the night for the supernova body. Listen to the realms of beyond, sacred wisdom healing my mind. Chakras align when I listen to supernova day. It's more than a podcast, it's a whole vibe. Expanding consciousness as you shift your mind. Tune into the supernova body so you can raise your vibration. Don't be afraid to make changes and create a new you. It's more than a podcast, it's a whole vibe. Expanding consciousness as you shift your mind. Supernova body, a cosmic party. New way of life, it's a supernova body. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to welcome to season 2 of Supernova Body Podcast. We are on episode 13, and today we're going to talk about neurodivergency. It's something that's near and dear to my heart, and I'm extremely passionate about it, and I'm glad to share some aspects of it with you to help people who maybe have been diagnosed as an adult, because it's a different world. When you're diagnosed as a kid versus an adult, you kind of navigate the experience quite differently. That can be a positive and a negative, depending on how you look at it or what your experience it is. Your experience is with neurodivergency. Okay, so what is neurodivergency? Neurodivergency is simply a way that your brain works, okay? I have a lot of notes for this, and I probably am not going to stick to them. Neurodivergency. This is one of my passions, so I'm going to try to stay on track. But again, all right. So neurodivergency has been changed to a spectrum, and I have the DSM right here. Good old DSM that explains in depth what the different classifications and different aspects of neurodivergency can be. It's not just autism and ADHD. It also can be oppositional defiance disorder. It can also be a refusal to listen. You know, there are so many different aspects of neurodivergency that are often excluded and ignored, or depending on the child, classified differently. So like it could be autism, but it's classified as something else. It could be Asperger's, but it is no longer considered that because it's a spectrum where there are different levels, 1, 2, or 3, that a person can be on, which also has different classifications as person verbal and nonverbal. Now, I am not a psychiatrist, okay? I am not legally allowed to identify or diagnose autism and neurodivergency in others, okay? I just happen to have this trusted DSM for diagnosis of everything else, but not for that. You have to be a psychiatrist in order to make that claim or examination or diagnosis. So what I am talking about specifically is in my lane of personal experience, because that's all I can give you. You know, I can only use myself in an example because who else am I going to use? Okay. this is a breakdown of my process that I went through personally in order to better understand neurodivergency and become okay and at peace with it, because it was a shift to my life and my understanding of myself. While the shift was for the good and for the better, I went through a lot of different emotions. Definitely went through a lot of different emotions, and a lot of shame and feeling of just being very different and like a problem, right? And so I want to help you avoid that. Because why you gotta be tripping? You know, you don't have to be. You can live a life free, without all of the different stuff that I went through. So, yeah, let's get into it further, deeper, shall I say? All right. So there are different ways that everybody's brain works, right? And figuring out how to make your brain work the best for you is custom to everybody, whether you have neurodivergency or not. Now, if you've got neurodivergency, then there are ways to kind of hack that, right? If you're more on the ADHD side, it's focus. If you're more on the autism side, then it's finding other things to focus on outside of your special interests. If you're on both, it may be that you have so many different things to focus on, you master so many different things, and you are hyper focused on so many different things that it makes it hard for you to choose one thing to focus on. Those can all be superpowers. It just depends on how you use them and the spaces that you're in order to learn how to use them. Neurodivergency is a blessing in disguise. Okay. I went through school being a very talkative, friendly, outgoing person. And after high school, I became very introverted and reclusive. Why, you do wonder? Well, because I no longer had to mask. I was able to do what I wanted to do, and it was not interact with people as much. I hadn't yet learned my boundaries. I hadn't yet learned who I was or what I liked or what I didn't like. So I was trying to figure that out in the safest way possible, which was to isolate for me. Now, had I known what was going on, and had I known then that I had a very neural spicy brain, I may have been able to navigate that differently, but we will never know. So, as an adult, when I did find out just a few years ago, um, I I went through a lot of different emotions that made it very difficult to process it in a positive way. Um, my kids had been diagnosed. Well, one of my kids had been diagnosed earlier, a few years earlier, and I never thought that it was me. It's just like, you're so different from me. Maybe it's because you're a boy and I'm a girl. I don't know, but I just don't understand why you do what you do and the way that you do it. And that's because neurodivergence doesn't manifest exactly the same. You don't get a carbon copy. Everyone becomes a genius because they're autistic, or everyone is nonverbal because they're autistic, or everyone with ADHD means that they are super hyperactive and they can't stop moving and they're just like always like this all the time, all the time, all the time. That's not how it always manifests. That's not like everyone is not textbook, right? Everyone is not a DSM version, right? It looks very different in how it presents itself within both boys and girls. Um, Girls can present in a really interesting way, which I didn't learn until recently. That girls can be perfectionists, people pleasing, um, friendly people at school, and then go home and crash because they've been masking all day. And they're very much so autistic. They have trouble setting boundaries, setting healthy boundaries. They have trouble uh, doing what other kids do or being mean. They really, really struggle in those areas of being dishonest. And then through friendships and experiences of life, learn how to do that, but initially don't understand. And in friendship dynamics, they could be very popular, very kind, whatever, but they're very drained because they're not necessarily being authentic to themselves, right? Um, yeah, I haven't followed any of my notes. But we're moving on. So ADHD and autism in boys can look very different too, but it also can look very, very much so the same. You can have men and women that exhibit the same exact signs of autism and ADHD. So it either can or it cannot, and it's not fair to pigeonhole anyone into one demonstration or idea of it, because that's just not, it's not realistic, and it's not the reality that we live in. And yes, it seems like everyone has ADHD and autism now. A lot of the diagnoses were missed, and ADHD can be genetic or arrive from trauma. So a whole generation of people have it. What did they experience collectively that would have reprogrammed their brain? It's possible, right? Neurodivergency is something that research has been done on. However, there's so much more to go, because specifically research is not focused or concentrated on little Black boys and girls, on how their brain works. Typically, their brain works in the same way as others, but the manifestations of what that looks like can be very different, because there's cultural differences. There's also genetic differences. There's so many different things that we have yet to understand, because research is simply not being done to the degree in which it needs to be done to better understand how the varying differences look. There have been, however, many it's not researches, I'm searching for the word and it's eluding me. There have been many studies conducted on misdiagnosis with little Black boys and girls in regards to oppositional defiance and other defiant disorders that result in not being accurate. They simply were autistic or had ADHD, and also had a resistance to being told what to do in a certain way, which was not necessarily meaning that they weren't able to be taught or told or educated. They just, language had to be different. But such is life. So you just found out that you had ADHD. You just found out that you had autism. You just found out that you are on the spectrum somehow, some way, and you are neurodivergent. You've been neurodivergent the whole time. Or maybe a traumatic situation happened and you just manifested, your brain is using it as a way to help you or help you move forward, or it's just how your brain works. There's nothing you can do about it. That's the first thing, is accepting that there's nothing that you can do about it. And there's nothing that was done that was horrible for this to happen. Like, it's okay that this happened, right? It's okay that you got this diagnosis. It's okay that your brain works in this way. Matter of fact, high five. Hello, high five. You are now a part of a really cool exclusive club that welcomes you with open arms. And the more you get to know who you are, the more you can find safe spaces for you, right? When I learned that people pleasing was a natural part of how autism can manifest, I really gave myself some grace, okay? I really gave myself some grace, because I understood that this was the way my brain worked. I understood that honesty was something that I was always going to expect from people, but it may not come because people don't have the same brain as me, right? I may look at things and go above and beyond, and people may not, because they, one, don't have the capacity, and one, that's just not how their brain works, right? And who am I to expect people to think and act like me? But it's okay for me to look at how I think and act and find other people that think and act that way and be like, okay, this ain't so bad. All right, cool. You can take an affirming approach to this diagnosis. You can take an affirming approach to what life is going to look like. This doesn't have to be the end. In fact, it's the beginning. Very cliche, but for real. It is the beginning, because you're finally going to understand why you're doing what you're doing. And it's not because something is wrong with you. It's because your brain is a super computer. Yeah, that's how I look at it. I mean, it gives me peace. It could be inaccurate. I don't care. My brain is going 100 miles an hour. Okay. And that's how my manifestation of neurodivergence comes across. Do I use it for my benefit? Absolutely. Absolutely. I learned that people with neurodivergence, the kind that I got, which is the autism side with a little bit of the ADHD, they can create things quickly. and they can move on to the next thing. They can hyper concentrate and focus on something and master it and figure out the ins and outs of everything about it. They can do it to people. You learn people, figure them out, and then you're like, okay, cool. I understand who you are, and what you like to do. And you recognize patterns at a hyper rate. You can see patterns, you can see inconsistencies, you can do all this stuff. You're a supercomputer. Your brain never stops. That also means that you don't know how to shut down. You don't know how to turn off. You don't know how to rest initially until you really learn yourself and you can identify, okay, it's time for me to rest. I'm pushing myself way too hard and way too fast and way too far, and I need to just chill out and rest. And that it's safe for you to do that, and you're not a horrible person, right? Okay, I think I was talking about this is why I take notes. This is why I have to organize everything that I'm going to say and hit the points. Because if I don't, I will drift and go like this. And this is because I know my neurospicy brain. But today I was like, I got notes, but I feel like I'm really passionate and there are things I want to talk about, and I haven't really been looking at the list. But again, this is how the brain works, right? Also, I believe I was talking about my child. So my child was diagnosed, and I was not one of those moms that was like, okay. I was devastated. I was like, what did I do? How did this happen? What it was way before I became a practitioner. Way before I became a practitioner, before I understood energy, anatomy, body healing, anything. I was just like, God, why? Like, I just want my kid to have a normal, healthy experience. I don't want them to have any limitations. This keeps going down. I just want them to be able to have a positive experience in life, and I don't want them to have anything that I feel like could be a burden. I didn't yet understand the positive perspective, and how it was being presented to me was presented like, this is a really big issue, and this is a really big problem, and this is going to affect him for the rest of his life. And I was, oh my God, like, what? I don't know nobody that got ADHD. I don't, what am I supposed to do? I didn't know that it was genetic. I didn't know that your child probably has some attributes of you that you're missing. I didn't know any of that. And it wasn't presented in a way where I felt like, okay, cool, I am empowered to do what it takes, right? So, yeah. And we'll talk about that in another episode, because I think it's really important that neurodivergent parents have support, even with their neurodivergent kids. Okay, so a part of that, a part of the accepting that, okay, hey, you got neurodivergency, here you go, is understanding that you may have to grieve something. And that's okay. You could be both excited and relieved about the experience, and you could also be kind of confused and sad, because no, you will never be classified as like a regular neurotypical person. But do you want to be, right? And is that going to really help you in understanding who you are, right? It's a both and approach. You could be excited, relieved, and devastated. You could be grieving the life that you thought you had, right? Or the brain that you thought you had. All of that is okay and realistic. It's okay to be confused and need validation for yourself too, right? Because if you don't agree that it is neurospiciness, and you feel like it could be something else, and you don't want to follow what seems like a trend, you could definitely challenge that, right? You don't have to accept the first diagnosis that comes your way, or the first perspective of someone that comes your way. You can see if it's something else, or if something more closely aligns to what you believe it is. Or you can trust the experience of the person or the psychologist or psychiatrist that is providing you with the diagnosis, right? It's up to you. It's your world, right? Do what makes you feel good, and all of the different feelings and emotions that you have surrounding it, they're valid, and it's okay. It's all right. You could be angry and frustrated too, which I think I was for a split second, a moment, because it felt like, if I would have known this as a kid, I wouldn't have gotten in trouble so much for talking so much. Like, this was just my brain. I would have been able to be regulated and not have so many emotions just be so big. I would have been able to have a different life. I could have done this, I could have done that. All of these things are natural, okay? And it's okay that they're happening, but allow yourself to feel anything. And sometimes like an identity shift can happen, right? Where you are now, your personality is neurodivergent, when that that may be helpful and it may serve you, but it doesn't have to be that way either. Like, your identity can shift internally and it doesn't have to be your whole personality, right? You can have a better understanding of who you are in addition to, but you're more than just a diagnosis, no matter what that diagnosis is, no matter if you agree with it or not, if it makes you feel crazy or makes you feel weird or different or not. It doesn't have to be all that you are, right? You can center your identity and your personality around things that make you happy, being an expert in whatever you do. Yeah, that feels much better than just saying, I'm neurodivergent. No, I am a hyper focused person that masters whatever I put my mind to. And I understand things intently. Let that be your personality. Forget the other stuff. If it doesn't resonate with you, if it doesn't make you feel empowered, right? You also don't have to get an official diagnosis. That's your choice. That's your choice if you want to get an official diagnosis or not. If you just want to better understand how your brain works and you feel like something is off, kind of roll with that, and you can find out, like, yeah, this makes sense, or nah, this don't make sense. Okay. All right. Also with that, because now I picked up back on my notes. Educate yourself. Educate yourself. Find different places and spaces and people that can give you better understanding of what you're experiencing. Because what I did is I became absolutely obsessed with neurodivergence and tried to find out every single way that this can manifest and what it can look like. And I watched every single possible thing I could, every TED Talk, podcast, whatever, you name it. I read every possible piece of literature so I could figure out what this was gonna be like for me and my kids, and what I had to look forward to, for not just myself but my son. And initially the approach was very dark. I felt like, oh, this is just gonna be bleak. And then I realized, yeah, no, this is gonna be fine. Like, it's gonna be fine. It's just approaching learning in a very different way and knowing when to kind of pick my battle, right? Okay. Which also leads into practical strategies for daily life. So yeah, you figure this out. Now what does life gonna look like? What is life gonna be? And why is it gonna be that way? Because you are now living in a way where you have tools at your disposal to create the life that you want, because people have done so much research to figure out what will provoke you to movement, what will provoke you to completion, what will provoke you to adopt positive social cues and interactions. So I laugh because, oh, I'm so awkward sometimes in group settings, which is why I don't like to go to places with groups of strangers, because I'm prone to say things I should not say. And I'm prone to do things that are just kind of strange, like, okay. Or I won't pick up on social cues and I'll be on my phone or I'll be in my own world doing my own thing, and people are just like, why are you even out? I don't know. I am reading a book on my phone. Like, I'm playing a game. I don't know. I don't know why I'm here, but I'm here. And that leads me to say this. Sometimes neurospicy brains rely heavily on influences, substances, in order to be able to be in those social spaces, which is why I've set the boundary for myself that I just won't be in those kind of social spaces, because if I have to drink to be there in order to feel normal or be normal, this ain't the space for me, because why do I have to change myself in order to adjust in this space? And that sometimes can lead to addiction of being normal, right? Because if we're drunk, we can do things that other people view to be normal, but really is a violation of our core self, right? Or our boundaries that we have internally or intrinsically that we're just not really trying to pay attention to, because we want to be social and we want to be around other people, and that people pleasing aspect is coming out, right? Uh, yeah. Also, there may be things where we have sensory needs. Sorry, where bright lights, loud noises, the way things feel. Oh my gosh. When I was pregnant with my last child, my baby son, I could not touch certain materials without freaking out. That should have been an indicator of what I was carrying, but I didn't know. I wasn't aware yet. And I couldn't, I could not touch certain fabrics. Still to this day, certain, oh, why does it feel that way? Oh, certain foods, the way things look. Oh, I'm just itching thinking about it. Um, like there are certain triggers or sensory things that when you become aware of, you can simply avoid. Like touch, oh, that ain't gonna work for me, and move right along. Or certain foods, like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna eat that. Like I just know I'm not gonna eat that. So that's okay. You get a better sense of awareness for yourself and who you are, and it's not such a big deal where people point out and make a big deal about it. So an example of this is I don't like my food to touch, and I have been this way since a child, and I don't care. Okay, it's something that I have been made fun of for. People have laughed at. People have picked up and noticed. I just tell people I don't like my food to touch, and then we go on about our day, because we're not going to sit here and make a big deal over the fact that I don't like my food to touch. Like, if it's a hamburger and a sandwich and it is meant to be together, I want it to be together. I don't want my food to fall out. I want it all to be in the hamburger and eat it. And I remember as a kid, I would cry if my hamburger would fall apart. Like, these are all things that are sensory related. I used to blame my love for appreciation of aesthetics on me being a Libra, and then I realized that, oh no, this is just a trait of the kind of autism that I have. This is just an aspect of autism where things have to be in an order that flows and makes sense to me, and that's important for me to have peace. So it is what it is. But when you learn this about yourself, you can lean into it. You know how many people that probably have autism that go to people's houses and reorganize them because they're really good at organization? People. You just gotta lean in. Once you get through the emotional process that you are entitled to have, you can lean in. I know I've seen people with autism talk about how they, like, so what, suck it up, life happened, and move on. They have no space for emotional whatever. Their brain does not work in that way where they have the capacity for anybody's emotions. Rarely their own. And they just don't understand like any of that, and that's okay. That is their response and their experience, and there are people that resonate with that, and that is absolutely okay. However you respond to your situation is how you respond to it. I was an emotional wreck, and that is my response. So what? uh and that's that on that. So, okay. Design your environment and your routines in a helpful way. This requires a next level understanding of self, because do you struggle finding your keys? Put them in the same place every day. Do not give yourself no passes, because the moment you put them somewhere else, you're going to forget. And this is coming from experience, okay? I have one place for my keys and one place only, because anytime I wanted to get creative or cute or try putting it over here, I couldn't find it. I could not find it. So there's one place for my keys, right? There is one place for everything. Everything has a home. Everything has a home. And the kind of autism I have, or neurodivergency that I have to see everything. I have to see it, which is why my books face that way. I could see what's there. If they weren't facing a way where I could see, I would forget. Object permanence, absolutely not a thing for me. Like, I can't see it. Oh, it doesn't exist. Oh, I see it again. Oh, okay, hello. I love you, book that I haven't seen in 6 years because you were faced the wrong way. Yeah. No, lean into it and make your life and environment a way that is very comfortable and settling for you so that you don't have to feel no kind of way because your brain works in that way. I used to feel so bad because object permanence and led to me forgetting about friendships until I saw them on social media. I was like, oh yes, I love you. I forgot. Like, if I don't talk to you every single day, the object permanence is not, it's not going to change the fact that I love you. It's going to change how frequently I contact you. So I have friends, and this is not their responsibility, but they also have neurospicy brains. So we share this responsibility of staying engaged with one another because it makes sense for us. And we realize that we need each other, whether we recognize that we need each other in that moment or not. But I didn't know this. And I used to feel so very guilty about object permanence until I realized I have capacity for 2 friends at a time, 5 acquaintances and 10 people. What? 5 good friends and 10 acquaintances. That's what I have capacity for. And that means that I'll be able to talk to my best friends every day and everybody else as I can. Once I realized that, I was able to give myself grace and communicate that to other people. Like, hey, I really love being social to an extent. And I will be the best friend you will ever have when you need me. But I might forget, that you exist 9 times out of 10 just because I'm so hyper focused on my every single day-to-day life and my children because they are a part of I see them every day. They're not out of sight. They're there in my face, making themselves very much so known. So my life will kind of move accordingly. Okay. Yeah. Also find out what executive functioning, how you operate, how you function. Um, I'm gonna show this because I just randomly found it yesterday, so conveniently here. um, this is by Self Love Rainbow. I don't know if you can see that, but it is an executive dysfunction worksheet. And Self Love Rainbow is an amazing site for practitioners, therapists, other people that life coaches that provide resources to others. And I'm giving them a plug because my therapist, shout out to her, she's phenomenal. I don't know if I can I probably shouldn't name drop her, but she provided me this like helpful worksheet to do the worksheet, and I'm forever grateful. But understanding your executive dysfunction, understanding how you function is the best way for you to overcome that. And not so you could have a neurotypical life and be like everyone else, but so that you can figure out what makes sense for you in your life, right? I think everyone, whether they're neurodivergent or not, should understand how life works best for them. Like, why suffer? Why be in confusion? Why be in, environments that don't serve you? Get to know you for real, okay? Get to know you for real and understand what makes you feel good, how you can regulate your energy. Again, because you may not recognize that you're approaching battery on E until you're like done for. I follow Kev on Stage. I've been following him forever. Like literally back in YouTube days, forever. And he's always a meme. Someone always catches him looking just ready to go. Okay. Just absolutely done. Battery on E, ready to go. And I use that as a mental reminder, like, okay, am I about to be in public spaces looking like this? It's time to go. It's time to go. Doot doot. That's the song that plays for me when it's time to go. But I don't always realize that until like it's time to go. So how can you set things up for yourself in order to, realize that. And when your emotional needs are not being fueled, and when you're at a place where you don't have any more, uh they call it spoons, but you don't have any more energy to give. You don't have any more, nothing left. It's time to go in a little closet corner and recharge. And recharging can look like whatever it looks like for you. Also, stimming was something I was really excited to learn, because I couldn't understand why a lot of my friends and me like used music or movies or different random quotes to communicate. Like, people just turned it kind of into how people use gifs, whatever you want to call it. That's essentially stimming, but in real life, actual time, real time, where you're just like repetitive motion. It's how you regulate it. It can look like singing a song, or like doing a random dance at a random time. I eat and dance when I'm happy. When the food is good, I do a little dance to my food. It's how I regulate myself in public spaces or around other people when I'm eating. And it kind of is like, what? Why is you dancing? Because it's good and I'm happy. So be it. Or it could look like spinning or twirling or moving your legs or your feet. Or yeah, I'm shaking. You see, sorry, shaking. Moving your legs or your feet or whatever, to calm yourself, regulate yourself. It's your way of regulation that some people frown upon, right? But they invented fidget spinners for this very reason, so that we could be in public spaces and secretly be regulating, secretly be calming ourselves down and bringing ourselves peace. Some people have stims that are kind of dangerous to them. They pick their body, they pick their skin, they do whatever's closest, because it's what calms them. But by having a clicker or having something that they could do with their hands, they're no longer picking. So just keep that in mind when you tell somebody to stop moving, right? Or stop that, or put that down, or don't do that, or don't do this, because they need it. They need it. I try to teach my kids how to live in both worlds, both be comfortable at home in their world, and also go out into the world and understand that people may have these expectations of you, and not make space for who you are. So understand that sometimes in certain environments, you may not be able to be the fullness of yourself, and that's okay. It ain't never right, but it's always okay. Okay. So again, I was in a group therapy session, and I was not leading it. I was a part of it. And in that group therapy session, everyone was neurodivergent. And that is where I had the aha moment. Oh. My therapist, at the time, she didn't believe in labels or anything like that. So it was very important that I come to these conclusions and awareness and ask and seek the understanding on my own. And that's when I understood, okay. And I was I'll never forget, I was in the group session. And I was like, doesn't everybody do this? And everybody simultaneously was like, no. I was like, oh, they were like, no, this is exclusively for neurodivergent people. And that's when I was like, oh my gosh. Oh, okay, so not everybody is like this. No, you just attract people that are like you because you're neurodivergent. So if you look at your family, you look at your friend circle, chances are you got a lot of people that are undiagnosed, that will never be diagnosed because they don't have the desire, but definitely work like you do. Okay. So I said that to say connect with community, right? Connect with people that affirm who you are and don't look down on it, because we have enough people looking down on us. Who needs anybody else to say, oh, okay, I mean, whatever. You're not going to be in my life very long, because this is not a problem, right? This is not a problem, okay? I need to say this again one more time. This is not a problem. This is not something that you have to look at like this is the end of your life. It is not. It is the beginning of a brand new one, right? Where you can choose how your life is going to go. Choose what your life is going to be, because this can be a gift. Now, take all the time you need to mourn whatever life or experience you thought you were going to have. But this does not have to be a problem unless you want it to be. It's a superpower for me and my kids that sometimes can be very annoying. But nonetheless, it is what it is, okay? And how are we going to collectively move forward together? By finding other people like ourselves that can help us see the beauty and power of who we are. Because it's beautiful, let me tell you. All right. You can also go to workshops and different events to kind of get around and get a feeling for, okay, that's how their neurodivergency works. That's how their spiciness works. They like to, never mind. Also, I don't know what the connection is between neurodivergency and anime, but it is real, okay? Because all of my neurodivergent people, we all enjoy anime very much so. So I don't know if that just does something to us. I don't know if there's a science behind it, but I don't think I've met a neurodivergent person that does not enjoy anime. Not a one. In fact, that's my number one indicator that, hey, you got a spicy brain, don't you? Okay. I just wanted to add that in there. So if anybody has the answer or has done the research or has studied it, let me know, because I quite enjoy it myself. Cool. So I believe we're coming to the end of, so you just found out you're neurodivergent, huh? And I think I've opened the door for the opportunity to support. So again, you can always go to supernovabody.com and schedule a consultation with me, and I'm here to support you on your neuro spicy journey. However, I cannot diagnose you in that because I am not a psychiatrist and I stay in my lane, okay? But I can help support you if you think this is a possibility. Yeah, I could do that. I could help coach you. I could help you through the process, even offer spiritual modalities, whatever works, energy healing, balancing, a deeper understanding, music for your spicy brain, whatever works. You know, I'm here to support you and direct you into a community that is there to support you as well, because we out there, we exist for sure. All you got to do is connect. All you got to do is connect. And if I can't help you, I'm going to point you in the direction of somebody that can, okay? Thank you for listening and for tuning in today. Wherever you are, in any location, at any time, I'm grateful. I'm thankful, and I love you. Okay, bye.